Unanifanya ni kama nimeiba. Yake ni ngapi? 76231. 76231. 76231. 76231. PC? 363. This is Rui Joshua. Good.
Joshua, jina yako ya kwanza ni Joshua ama ni Kikuyu? Joshua.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission confirms that in the last 2 weeks, the Commission has undertaken surveillance operation on major roads across the country with a view to identify cases of corruption that are involving police officers and motorists. And as a result of those surveillance operations, EACC has been able to arrest 9 traffic officers who are caught extorting money from motorists and members of the public, and therefore compromising traffic law enforcement. The 9 traffic officers were arrested in Kajiado, Nakuru and Kisii, and they were caught extorting money from motorists and members of the public in the guise of traffic law enforcement. Aware that traffic corruption is one of the major causes of road accidents and fatalities in the country, EACC mounted these operations on major highways during the festive season, when many Kenyans were expected to travel to different parts of the country. From those operations, the Commission has arrested 9 traffic police officers from Nakuru at a place called Salgaa, which is notorious for bribe collection. The second spot was in Kajiado along Nairobi-Namanga Road, and the third one was in Kisii along Kisii-Rongo Road. The arrested officers were processed at EACC offices in the South Rift region based in Nakuru and various police stations within those areas. The Commission calls upon all the stakeholders, including the motorists themselves, traffic police officers, together with their commanders and members of the public, to adopt and embrace the culture of adherence to traffic laws and regulations. This is because when police officers on the road receive bribes, and instead of enforcing traffic laws, they do allow vehicles that are unroadworthy, or vehicles that are overloaded, or other cases where drivers are overspeeding to continue. That in itself compromises the safety of road users. And that is why EACC intensified its action on traffic corruption during this period to ensure that there is a smooth flow of traffic, and to ensure that persons involved in traffic corruption are brought to book. Those officers are under investigation. The Commission will finalize the ongoing investigations with a view to informing the next enforcement action. But even as EACC continues with that investigation, we urge members of the public to desist from the culture of disobeying the laid down traffic laws and then seek to bribe their way out of perceived trouble when they are caught in violation of traffic rules. During those operations, EACC observed that in some cases the bribery scheme was initiated by the motorists themselves in order to escape sanctions for various violations of traffic laws and regulations, including overspeeding, overloading, sometimes driving without valid licenses, and also cases of unroadworthy vehicles. EACC has also noted that some police officers are increasingly devising new ways of defeating the cause of justice, and the EACC continues to unravel those new mechanisms that they are using to collect bribes. For example, it is reported that in some regions and some counties, the commanders in those regions do require circle operators and associations of these vehicle owners to collect, consolidate, and submit bribe amounts at regular intervals, in some cases on a weekly basis, and in other cases on a monthly basis, to their stations. And that is why EACC is urging members of the public and those who do operate public service vehicles to desist from this culture and obey traffic laws. That is important in order to ensure road safety, because some of the fatalities that are experienced when road accidents occur, some of the permanent injuries that people do suffer as a result of these accidents could have been prevented if bribery was not taking place on our roads. Traffic corruption compromises the integrity of traffic law enforcement, as a result of which road safety regulations are not followed, and for that reason circumstances that can cause accidents and the loss of lives are allowed to thrive. EACC continues with that operation in various parts of the country, and persons found culpable will be dealt with in accordance with the law. EACC calls upon the regional and county commanders to take responsibility within their areas of jurisdiction and take measures to ensure that officers serving under them do not engage in these violations, do not collect bribes in the guise of traffic law enforcement, and thereby compromise road safety for Kenyans. EACC calls upon members of the public also to remain vigilant and appreciate that they are the ultimate victims of this kind of corruption whenever it occurs, and report to EACC. While EACC will continue to proactively engage the National Police Service and other stakeholders to have more effective mechanisms to prevent this vice, it is expected that regional commanders and the county commanders will on their own take measures to ensure that those officers that have been found engaging in this vice are subjected to appropriate action, including removing them from the roads to other areas, and such other administrative action as may be appropriate, even as EACC enforces the criminal aspects of the case. Meanwhile, those officers who are arrested in Kajiado, Nakuru and Kisii have been released on a cash bail. When the investigation is completed, the files will be forwarded to the DPP for concurrence so that they could be prosecuted in accordance with the law. The 9 officers arrested were in Kisii, Nakuru and Kajiado. So that operation was also undertaken along Makutano and Embu Road. And when EACC detectives approached one of the notorious spots in Embu, the 3 officers who were there fled the scene, and one of them, identified as Karancha, went and hid the money which they had collected in a nearby bush, and the EACC was able to recover the same. So the Commission is pursuing the officers so that enforcement action is also taken against them. It is also important to confirm that the operation is not complete, it is underway, and we are working closely with other stakeholders to ensure that this menace of traffic corruption is handled in a manner that can be more effective.
Okay. So what are about the allegations that junior police are receiving orders from their bosses? What are what are you doing to ensure that this ends as the Commission?
The fight against corruption on the traffic roads is a responsibility of all the various stakeholders that are involved in this process. And in respect to what is happening on the roads, it is true that most of the junior police officers arrested by EACC do cite cases where their bosses are aware of what is happening, and that is why we are calling upon the command of the police, regional commanders and the county commanders to take their responsibility to ensure that traffic corruption does not happen within their areas. The National Police Service should put in place mechanisms for holding senior officers accountable and responsible when these things happen.